So I just watched a documentary about Henry Ford, and it got me thinking, is Ford still living in the past? Well, yes, in some ways they are. But their new electric F-150 factory is certainly not the past. It's clearly very different to Ford's usual way of doing business. Hello my friends, welcome to the channel. I'm the Electric Viking. Great to see you here today. Awesome to see so many new subscribers lately. Thank you for subscribing to the channel. Thank you for supporting the channel. I really appreciate it. Ford's F-150 Lightning plant in Dearborn, Michigan is unlike anything Ford has built in its 118-year history. Phoebe Wall from the Detroit Free Press says that heading west down Interstate 94, exit 209 is clearly marked Rotunda Drive, but there's nothing special about it. Everything looks familiar, like the industrial Midwest, and the roads are cracked and crumbling and lined with orange and white construction barrels. Exiting and driving past old factory buildings and smokestacks, the landscape looks like a Hollywood set for an era long, long gone. Keep going. Beyond Eagle Pass and the Dearborn paint plant and the F-Series body shop, turn at Gate 4. Codename Rev C. Do not be fooled by the lack of fancy signage. This is where the 118-year-old Ford Motor Company is banking on its plan to go from making the best-selling truck in the US to putting the most battery electric trucks in America's driveways, directly competing at an unprecedented scale in a multi-billion-dollar electric revolution. The name of the auto plant, it's not sexy. It doesn't sound like a gigafactory, but Ford historians here might be the key, say the Rouge Electric Vehicle Center, or the Rev C site in Dearborn, once built warships intended to hunt down German submarines in the fight against fascism. On Tuesday, it will launch the all-electric F-150 Lightning from the same place, soon shipping these first electric trucks to customers. You're living in this moment in history, said Fallon Gates, a Ford communications specialist. Ford CEO Jim Farley has vowed to prove to the world that a legacy automaker can really compete with a fearless startup like Tesla, which has shown the market for battery-powered vehicles is real, not aspirational. Success would be especially sweet for Executive Chair Bill Ford, great-grandson of the company's founder, who for years was a lonely voice on the issue of sustainability and told to change his ways when he challenged his own family and its established traditions. Now, the all-electric Lightning is so popular that Ford had to actually pause reservations in December when they hit 200,000. The new factory is already expanding capacity to meet demand for a truck that has thousands of orders spilling into model year 2024, maybe even 2025. Demand for a truck that is unprecedented. Well, that is except for Tesla's Cybertruck. However, the incredible thing about this is the base price is $40,000 US. Well, I don't know how they're going to do it. Now, no one enters the Lightning factory without a security badge. It's that serious. And guards, they actually check. Visitors stop next door at the building next to AK Steel, and they provide identification, get an ID photo taken, and are officially approved to enter. But before they enter, visitors have to actually turn off their Bluetooth, hotspot, or Wi-Fi access on their cell phones to prevent potential interference with factory equipment that uses wireless communication. I think it could be a challenge here. This could be a bit of a problem because asking thousands of staff to make sure they always have their phones, Wi-Fi, and Bluetooth turned off, that's going to be tough. Now, when stepping inside the door of the factory, things don't look or sound or feel like the Dearborn truck plant nearby, where when operating at maximum production, it can drive one F-150 gas-powered pickup truck off the assembly line every 53 seconds. This plant, though, is different. Very different. And it's quiet. It's eerily quiet as far as factories go. There's an incredible lack of chaos, say visitors. And there's no conveyor belt or traditional assembly line because each new truck moves along on a sled. Officially, they're autonomous guided vehicles, or AGVs. Along the cement floor, there's a dark grey strip that looks like putty has filled in a crack. But that strip is magnetic and it guides the 100 plus sheds in the factory. They roll over a little green box on the floor every so often, which keeps things charged. Factory walkers don't walk or run or chase the vehicles to add parts and do their work on a deadline. Instead, each sled comes to a complete stop to the team at each workstation. Computer screens are everywhere, many noting 5 minutes and 30 seconds to do the job before the sled moves to the next station. Step by step, the vehicle is built. There are huge stacks of parts on one side of this electric truck factory, with tires and seats and running boards and instrument panels, glass panels, and batteries. All the components that make a truck. Now, the battery that powers a Ford F-150 Lightning truck is almost the size of a twin or a queen bed mattress, but it's much heavier, of course, and it's lifted into place by multi-million-dollar robots. Over in the chassis area, control project engineers Caleb Vargo and Gabriel Perez sit at a table monitoring everything with computers, how long workers take, where things may need to be sped up or where they need to be slowed down. Every detail, all decisions are data-driven. Gone are the days when workers leave handwritten notes with feedback for improvements, the engineers said. As you can see, Ford is making a pretty big effort to transition into an electric vehicle future. Both Vargo, 30 of Warren, and Perez, 34 of Macomb Township, worked at the Ford plant in Mexico, setting up the factory that builds the all-electric Mustang Mach-E. The electric Mach-E went on sale in 2020 and has gone on to win big awards and have solid sales. Solid. Yeah. Nowhere near the sales that we would have hoped it would have brought, though. In Dearborn, the new 500,000 square foot factory is designed to build the mass market Ford F-150 electric pickup, meaning Ford will come second in the race to electric pickup truck deliveries by actually delivering trucks next week. That's the plan anyway. And the plant is brightened with high-efficiency LED lights and the high-low forklifts used to move equipment around are actually run on hydrogen. Ken Scott, a 60-year-old worker at the plant, says, "This is like history to me." Tamika Cole, 47, of Belleville, is a team leader installing the Lightning truck bed. "Things are very different now at the electric vehicle plant," she said. "When there's a conveyor belt, you're constantly running," Cole said. "This now is better than running with a belt. It made you very exhausted, but you did your job. Morale is much better because you get to stop and you still have a certain amount of time to perform your job. You don't feel as pressured and rushed. Even though you have a timer right there, you're standing still. There's not so much anxiety and people's energy is high." She looked down at the dozens and dozens of partially built Lightnings lined up on the flat autonomous guided vehicles, and she said, "This is the future." People ask Cole whether she has driven the Lightning, and she responds by saying, "They're smooth as butter and very quiet." One of the things I picked up from reading about Ford's new factory is there's actually far less employees needed thanks to more robotics. Ford has aimed at improving efficiency in their electric factories. And yeah, it's led to less staff needed. Ford's Dearborn electric Lightning factory was just dirt only a couple of years ago. In 2020, Ford announced the $700 million project at the iconic and controversial Rouge complex. A year later, it was built. Now it's being expanded to build 150,000 trucks annually. One of the employees actually said this: the demand is overwhelming. They're chomping at the bit for this truck. It's a good problem to have, but this is like a whole separate company to our internal combustion engine company. I wonder what the future is going to bring. I wonder if my friends will still have jobs. Sherman too. And this staff member also said this new factory is way easier and he doesn't have to run to keep up with the production line. And Brian Palmer, another employee, said that the launch of this new all-electric truck feels a lot like the debut of an Apple iPhone. This here is like being a kid in a candy store, and I get to put it together, he said. I'm happy to be part of history. At the end of the production line, which isn't technically a line, but really the last stop for each F-150 electric pickup before it is delivered to customers, there is a tunnel of zebra lights that seems like a futuristic design that might be adopted by the Super Bowl one day to run the players through for dramatic effect. For example, trucks roll through before getting the battery charged in preparation for delivery. It's amazing, Ward said, to be part of something bigger than myself. Now, clearly, these staff here are enjoying working at Ford's new electric vehicle plant. And one of the key reasons is what, right? The work there is much easier. It's way easier than working for Ford at their internal combustion vehicle plant. Obviously, people at the old plants are very well aware these new jobs are much easier. They're very well aware as well that these new jobs are the future. They're probably very well aware as well that the internal combustion engine plants that currently exist for Ford all over the US will one day close their doors, leaving them potentially without a job. There is a big ticking time bomb for Ford. It's coming soon, whether they like it or not. There's really nothing they can do about it. But seeing this new electric pickup factory, it exposes this problem to an even greater degree than what I previously realized. Ford's employees are already aware of what it's like to work in their current internal combustion engine factory and what it's like to work at their new electric vehicle factory, and the difference is stark. Thanks for watching.